Buenos días y bienvenidos. Good morning and welcome. I am the Reverend Katie Romano Griffin, and I want to welcome you to Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church, a liberal religious community where love works, where we gather to explore the eternal, to nurture community, and to build a more just world, even when it's cold outside.
Please know that whoever you are, let me try that again, sorry. Please know that whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, whatever your sexual orientation or gender identity, wherever you are on life's journey and whatever your beliefs, life circumstance, or immigration status, you are welcome here.
A special welcome to those who are joining our service online, whether in the moment or catching up with us later. We are so glad to have you with us too. If you're new to Cedar Lane, we have a small gift for you. So please raise your hand if you're comfortable, and please keep it raised for a moment so that our ushers can find you. And I hope you'll join us after the service for coffee and conversation. And please know that if you choose to use a yellow mug, our members and friends will greet you, because at Cedar Lane, yellow means hello.
In a moment, we will turn and greet one another. But before we do, I want to draw your attention to the announcements page included as an insert in your order of celebration. One highlight I want to lift up is tonight at 6 p.m., the UU Singles Group will be meeting in the library, and the Labyrinth will be open to the public right here in the sanctuary. We hope you're able to make these special New Year's Eve celebrations.
Our lay pastoral visitors work closely with the ministers to support the pastoral ministry of our congregation. I'd like to invite Bob Harrison to rise. Bob is our on-call pastoral visitor today. Bob will be available in the library after service. If there's anything that is weighing on your heart, please do see Bob after the service. Thank you, Bob, for your ministry. Now, please greet your neighbor, especially new folks. Let us begin to turn our hearts and minds to the service with the adapted words of Lois van Leer. Let go of all that binds you, of all that burdens you, of what you carry, of all that shames you, of fear, of trespasses and transgressions, of woundedness. Let go of guilt. Let go of anger. Let go of small-mindedness and pettiness, of ways of being that no longer work for you, of compulsions that consume your living. Let go of what you cannot change. Let go of regret, of that which haunts you. Let go of pain. Let go of ways in which you missed the mark. Let go and let us create hope together. Let go and let us worship.
As Bab Ricketts kindles our chalice, symbol of our shared faith, please rise in body and/or in spirit to share the chalice lighting words printed in your order of service. We light this chalice because we are Unitarian Universalists. We are the religious community of the open mind, the loving heart, and the helping hands. And together we care for the earth and help to bring peace and justice into the world. Please remain as you are to sing hymn number 95. There is more love somewhere.
So I would like to start off with a quick poll. So who here thinks 2017 was the best year ever? Go ahead, raise your hands. All right, we got one. All right. So you might want to tune me out for the next couple of minutes, Jim, because for so many of us, 2017 was a year that was filled with, well, let's just say it was a pretty bad year. So looking back on the year, I know my mind first goes to all the tragedies, like the Las Vegas shooting, the multiple hurricanes destroying so much, the repeated outbreaks of wildfires in California, the constant fights against institutionalized racism, homophobia and sexism that left so many of us weary and beaten down emotionally and spiritually. The constant fear of waking up to see what new political calamity happened overnight. The rise of organized hate in Charlottesville. Sure, there were some good parts to 2017. Some of us had some great things happen in our lives this year. I know I did. But so many of us have things that we want to leave behind in 2017 and not bring with us in the new year. And I bet even if you think 2017 was your best year ever, there's still at least something you want to leave behind and not bring with you into the new year. So without a doubt, New Year's Day is the most meaningful winter holiday for me and why I wanted to do this service. Because New Year's Day for this religious humanist is a chance to leave behind what I didn't like about the past year and start over with a fresh slate, with fresh intentions. Now, it's not like I can leave behind tragedies. They're going to happen in the upcoming year, and who knows what's going to happen with our political climate in the upcoming year. There's only so much in our power to control. We can't control big global events, disasters, and tragedies, but we can control our reaction to them and our response to them. There's a lot of fear out there, and we might not be able to leave that behind in 2017, but we can leave behind our inaction in the face of fear. We can leave behind the entropy that keeps us at rest. We can leave behind the fear of action in the face of fear. Each of us has something about ourselves that we experienced this year that we wish we hadn't. Each of us has some sort of character trait that we wish we could leave behind so that we could be more truly our best selves. New Year's is a chance for us to reflect on those things that we really should leave behind, that we need to leave behind, so that we can begin again in love. So I know I have things I want to leave behind in 2017. There were times in 2017 I felt I wasn't active enough. Maybe I was too passive. I was too disorganized at times, and I know if I could be just a little bit more organized, my life would be simpler. And there were times I didn't love myself enough and didn't have faith in myself. And I certainly want to leave those feelings of doubt behind in 2017. And 2017 was, well, a horrible year to be in denominational service in our faith tradition. The spring of 2017 and the crisis that enveloped our association is a time I'm not going to be able to forget anytime soon. But most of all, I want to leave behind the busyness. So this year I've done a lot, from serving on the UUA board to leaving my old congregation and starting up here at the Cedar Lane community. I've had times where I felt totally encompassed by a sense of busyness. More times than I can count, I've said no to social things because I've been too busy. Or I found myself using the excuse that I was too tired to go out, but not saying that that sense of fatigue was from being overly busy. If I could leave behind that sense of busyness and that sense I need to be busy so I'm making as big of an impact as I can, I think I'd be living a more balanced and healthy life. We all have things we wish we could leave behind when we begin the new year. So what are some things that you want to leave behind in 2017 so you can make a fresh start in the new year?
Each time we gather for worship, we set aside time to expand the caring ministry of this congregation. We gather not for our needs alone, but to bear witness to the joys, sorrows, and milestones that unfold in all of our lives, and to serve as companions to one another throughout these profound journeys of faith. We gather to build the beloved community where all souls are welcome and lives are rendered whole and reconciled. Our hearts are with those for whom parenting is a primary spiritual practice. We hold in our circle of caring those who live with grief or chronic pain, with illnesses seen and unseen, with mental illness or addictions, those who have suffered abuse, and those who care for family members in ill health. Today, we hold in our hearts and prayers Linda Giannessi, who was injured and had knee surgery in Thailand while on vacation. She's recovering well and expects to be home on January 6th. Your prayers as well as cards and notes are appreciated. We hold in our hearts the family and friends of Dick Schrager, especially Jane Gentleman. Dick passed away on Tuesday. Plans are pending. You'll hear about those later. Our hearts go to Michael Benefield and family as his brother-in-law, Butch Dollar, passed away last night. We also send our prayers to the family of Fred Beckner, a former Cedar Laner who died Friday and whose service will be January 5th at 2 o'clock at the Rockville UU Church.
In a few moments, we're going to do a ritual of letting go. And I'll explain that ritual after we do a meditation. Sometimes I don't know what I need to let go of until I know what I want to bring into being. Having a powerful vision, like Cedar Lane's Vision 2020, but a personal one, helps me to determine what to say yes to and what to say no to in the coming year. Because I know that having a bold vision to live into will naturally call me to say no to some things in my life, maybe even some things that are good or have been good, because sometimes something good has to fall apart to make room for something great, something even better, something that couldn't have been conceived before. So we're going to move through a meditative process that was gifted to me by one of my mentors, Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And there'll be several different questions, and you don't have to contemplate all of them. We have different learning styles and different theologies in this room. So some of those questions will be targeted directly to your learning style, and others might not resonate with you as much. Just be present to them. And give yourself permission to pay attention to what you notice in your body. When we do meditations that are geared towards visioning, sometimes we just get a sense of something that we can't really explain. Some people see colors. Some people get bright ideas or pictures or words come to them immediately. Just trust whatever comes up. Know that there'll be bodies moving in the room around you, and that's just a reminder that you are safe in community. So I invite you to find a place on the wall or the ceiling behind me to focus your eyes on, or even to let your eyes close naturally as we take a nice deep breath together. Good. And just imagine for a moment as you breathe that your muscles begin to relax from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. So with the next breath, just begin to relax this place in between your eyes on your forehead, right between your eyebrows. Just let that space relax. Just imagine, visualize, picture, or pretend that the muscles there can relax. And then your forehead. Maybe just relax your jaw, even if it means moving it a little bit first. On your next breath, gently lift your shoulders, and as you exhale, you can roll your shoulders back, relaxing your neck and shoulders. Relax your arms and hands. Relax your torso. Maybe even noticing that as the muscles between your ribs loosen, you can breathe more deeply and exhale more fully. Relax your hips and thighs. Relax your legs and feet. And then begin to draw your attention to your heart, to that area, that center of love. And begin to imagine, visualize, picture, or pretend that you can call up a feeling where you felt unconditional love. Maybe it was from a pet, a partner, a friend, a grandparent. Maybe it was a moment in nature where you knew that you were held and loved by something larger than yourself. Call up that feeling, and in your next breath, multiply it by 10. Multiply that love, maybe even feeling it move through your body as it multiplies. Multiply it again with your next breath by 10 again. Maybe feeling it move out from your body into the space around you. Multiply it again. Maybe feeling that love start to bathe the people next to you. And on your next breath, imagine it moving out to bathe the row of people. Maybe even the people in front and behind you. And then breathe again and let it fill the sanctuary so that the whole sanctuary is bathed in love. And in the presence of this love, ask yourself this: what is the Holy's big idea for me this year? What is seeking to emerge as my life this year? A higher order of thinking or being? Not what's possible based on your past, but what could be you this year? What good? What love? What could be you this year? Now, what skills, what talents, what abilities do you already have in your life that can help you become more this year? So what skills, what talents, what abilities do you already have in your life that can help you become more this year? What skills, What talents, what abilities must you cultivate this year? What must you release in order to become more? What must you release? I invite you to continue to hold on to that which you must release. As you come back into your body, maybe wiggling your fingers, opening your eyes, rolling your shoulders. What must you release? In a moment, Jasmine is going to begin to play There's More Love Somewhere softly underneath us, and I invite everyone to come forward and grab a tiny slip of paper from this bowl. Think about what it is that you wish to release and drop it in one of these bowls, and the paper will dissolve. Now, ritual is a secret back door to the computer of our minds. So in some ways, this ritual can begin the process of releasing that which you need to release to become more. So I invite everyone to participate in this ritual. And for anyone who would like to have their piece of paper brought to them, if you raise your hand, Tim or Barb will come to you with this piece of paper to be released, and then one of these note cards that you're going to keep with you for the second part of the ritual. So for those coming forward, you want one of these sheets of paper that will go in one of the bowls, and then you'll pick up a card to take back with you to your seats. Let us begin the process of releasing that which no longer serves us. There's a country song that says, one of God's greatest gifts is unanswered prayers. Because sometimes those prayers lead us in a different direction, into the place that we're really meant to be. But sometimes we can't get to that new place because we're still holding on to that old stuff. Let us enter a moment of prayer. Spirit of life and love, God and Goddess of many names, moving in, as, and through each and every one of us. Today, each of us began a process of letting go. Letting go so that we can get and let more good, more greatness come through us into this world. The kind of good, the kind of greatness, the kind of somethingness that lights us from the inside, that gives us meaning for our days and spills out onto all of those around us. Spirit of life and love, help us hold on to the possibilities that can be for us and be made manifest through us in 2018. So may it be.
Well, I'm gonna get through this world the best I can, if I can. And I'm gonna get through this world, and I think I can.
And I think I can. Well, I'm gonna work in this world the best I can, if I can. And I'm gonna work in this world, and I think I can. And I think I can. I'm gonna get through this world the best I can, if I can. I'm gonna work in this world the best I can, if I can. I'm gonna get through this world the best I can. Well, I'm gonna walk in this world the best I can, if I can. And I'm gonna walk in this world, and I think I can. And I think I can. I am gonna walk in this world the best I can, if I can. And I'm gonna talk in this world, and I think I can. And I think I can. I'm gonna walk in this world the best I can, if I can. I'm gonna talk in this world the best I can, if I can. I'm gonna get through this world the best I can. Die, 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 die. Da 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 da.
Well, I'm gonna clean up this world the best I can, if I can. And I'm gonna clean up this world, and I think I can.
And I think I can. Well, I'm gonna leave this world behind the best I can, if I can. And I'm gonna leave this world behind, and I think I can. And I think I can. I'm gonna weed off this world the best I can, if I can. I'm gonna leave this world behind the best I can, if I can. I'm gonna get through this world. Die, 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 die.
So I like to think of New Year's as the morning to the whole year. So what do we typically do in the morning? We start preparing ourselves for the new day. And what's often up first? A shower to wash away all that dirt from the prior day. Well, in a way, we kind of just did that with our letting go ritual. And now that we've left behind everything we want to leave behind in 2017, it's time for us to think about how we should prepare ourselves for the new year. Now, I've got a few personal New Year's traditions that I use as a way to prepare myself for the upcoming year. And first and foremost is cleaning. Very exciting, I know. As anyone who is my Facebook friend can attest, I've spent a lot of the last week or two cleaning as part of my New Year's ritual. Now, I'm not a terribly clean person by nature. I'm a single guy, and my apartment usually tends to reflect that stereotypical single guyness with the amount of unclean around. But I take cleaning seriously during the weeks leading up to the new year. I go all in, a deep clean. In fact, some of you saw me lugging around a carpet cleaner a few weeks ago here. And why? It's for this New Year's deep cleaning. I know some people do this around springtime with the spring cleaning, but I do it around New Year's. So why? I don't want to bring last year's trash into the new year, both metaphorically and literally. Well, metaphorically, we kind of just took care of that with our ritual of letting go. We've taken out the metaphorical trash that's been weighing us down, and our souls have that nice and fresh, clean feeling. So it's time to make my actual living have that same nice and fresh, clean feeling, hence the deep clean around New Year's. Not fun, not exciting, but it's another way I set myself up to have a great new year. There's something liberating about taking out that last year's trash. And I also find comfort in moving from the metaphorical to the literal. Now, you might not need to give your house or apartment or bedroom such a deep clean for the new year. Just because it's my tradition doesn't mean it needs to be yours too. But there is something that you can do in your life, even today, that can bring this metaphorical starting over into the literal. Every culture has some sort of ritual around the new year. Some eat 12 grapes at the strike of midnight, making a wish for each grape. Some make scarecrows to symbolize the old year and burn them at midnight. And in Georgia, where I grew up, we eat. Specifically, we eat black-eyed peas and collard greens. Now, I learned that it's not such a huge deal outside of the South, even outside Georgia necessarily, but it's always been the traditional New Year's Day meal to have black-eyed peas and collard greens with ham and cornbread. It's apparently a tradition that dates back to the Civil War. So I read, doing some research for this, that during Sherman's march to the sea, they burned all of the crops but spared black-eyed peas because they were food for farm animals. So the people in Georgia were lucky and didn't starve because they were able to eat black-eyed peas. Now, who knows if that's really where the tradition comes from, but the first meal you're supposed to eat on January 1st is black-eyed peas to have a lucky new year, with collard greens that represent wealth for the new year. Now, I've never actually eaten that meal on New Year's because I'm not a big fan of black-eyed peas, but it's the tradition that appeals to me. And once again, it's an example of bringing our metaphorical hopes into the new year and making them literal. Rituals matter. All rituals we do are a way to bring metaphors to life. But it seemed to have a particular meaning, at least to me, around the new year. They help us clean the slate and help us set intentions for the upcoming year. And one more ritual I love to help clean the slate for the new year is the responsive reading we're about to do, called the Litany of Atonement. It's written by a former colleague of mine on the UUA board, Rob Eller Isaacs. And this responsive reading has always been a favorite of mine in our hymnal. Many of us have self-imposed burdens that weigh us down, try their best to guilt us, saying that we aren't good enough, that we haven't done enough, that we've screwed up, that we'll never be forgiven. We have to let go of these thoughts, and there's no time like the new year to get started in the spirit of self-forgiveness. This is another way we can clean our metaphorical slate for the new year and begin again in love. So please join me in responsive reading number 637, the Litany of Atonement, found in your gray hymnal, which will be led by Katie and Barbara.
We invite you to read the italicized words. For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference. We free ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible. We free ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that we have struck out in anger without just cause. We free ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others. We free ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For the selfishness which sets us apart and alone. We free ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit. We free ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For losing sight of our unity. We free ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness. We free ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. May it be so.
And Victoria Weinstein has said, the purpose of the church is to encourage all who gather there to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring the human being closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this self-supporting church and its many ministries. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully received. For the gifts which we have received, may we be grateful. May we be committed to using those gifts to share with the world, to increase love and justice, expand beloved community, and do what the Spirit says do.
You don't have to raise your hand for this unless you feel like you want to self-identify. But who has had a laundry list of New Year's resolutions before? And who has a laundry list of failed New Year's resolutions? Yeah. Most times by around the 21st, we're off the diet. We've stopped going to the gym. I went to the gym earlier this week, and if you see me moving a little woodenly, it's because I'm feeling really healthy. Every muscle hurts. And that's why sometimes it hurts when you're going into a new way of being. And sometimes that's why we stop doing whatever the laundry list of things is. But there's another reason why New Year's resolutions fail. Because we're not meant to be human doers. We're not meant to have gigantic laundry lists of things. This culture of busyness is killing us. It's pulling us away from being human beings. Who do you want to be this year? The questions from our meditation were centered not on what are the things you should do this year, but what is seeking to emerge as your life? Who are you being called to be this year? And how do you become that? Which is less focused on a list of tasks and more focused on being present to yourself and present to that still, small voice within that guides us all on our journeys, and not in a straight line. I want to be really clear. Sailors, you know this. When you're headed in a direction, you sort of tack. You kind of weave your way there. It's not a straight direction, and it's about being present to the way the wind blows and leaning into it, fully aware of who you are seeking to become on the journey. So, these cards that you're holding, the invitation is to write a word, or maybe 2 words. This is a challenge, I know, for Unitarian Universalists. Pick a word, maybe 2 words, that embody who you want to be. This isn't about the laundry list. This is about who you want to be, and I'll give you an example. So for me, this year, personally, what I'm choosing to embody is radical self-love. Radical self-love. That means when my body says take a nap, I'm actually going to take a nap. Even if it means there's cookies to be baked that I was told about last minute for that school thing, I'm going to power nap first. I'm not just going to do the cookies and then realize as I'm doing the cookies that, oh my gosh, I never straightened that closet out, and then run over and straighten out the closet, and then, email to answer. Nope. It means I'm going to take the nap. And it means when I'm baking the cookies, which baking is one of my favorite things to do, I'm going to be just baking the cookies. And it might mean that the closet doesn't get organized till next New Year's when Tim says, I'm cleaning my closet. What are you doing? When I choose to clean that closet, it'll be because it is an act of self-love, not because it's on my to-do list, not because it's another thing. I'm going to invite you to look at every volunteer activity that you do, that you have done in the past, and ask yourself, is this in alignment with who I am seeking to become? And if the answer is no, let it go. Let it go. It's okay. Someone with passion will move into that place. It really is okay. And then look for something that is in alignment with who you want to become and say yes to that. Because the world needs you to be filled up by what you do. So who are you seeking to become this year? Go ahead and write it on your cards. And if you don't have a pen or a pencil, talk to your neighbor. Somebody's got one. This is community building. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to choose your word, and then we're going to close out with a prayer. Maybe 3 words tops, but no lists and no semicolons. I'm watching. And if you're done writing your words, take a look around. You're not alone on this journey. Each Sunday, we gather together to explore the eternal, to nurture community, and to build a more just world. We have religious education programming that is continuing to emerge to support you in this process. And if there's a need that needs to be filled, come talk to the ministry team. You're probably not the only one that's noticing it or feeling it. We're here to help you, to call you into being more. We do that together as a community. Let us enter a moment of prayer or meditation. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, flowing in, as, and through each and every person here, I am knowing that only one thing is happening, and it is good. It is greatness expressing as each and every person here. And I am knowing that when each of us falls down and forgets what our words are, that someone will be there to remind us. Someone might even be that still small voice inside that whispers, who do you want to be? Who are you being in this moment? And who can you be? Who will you be? And I'm knowing that in that moment, each of us will make a choice to be more. Not necessarily to do more, but to be more. And I am so happy and so grateful to know this truth, to know that we get to do this journey together, that I release these words to law, knowing that all is done in mind and in form, and claim this prayer by saying, Amen, and blessed be. May we go forth as human beings into 2018. Happy New Year. Let us do when the Spirit says do.